Hi everyone, I'm Laura, the founder and CEO of Mums in Need, and today I'm sitting here with Annie Moon.
Hello, so we're talking today because I've been involved this year for a decade with Mums in Need, so we just wanted to touch on some of the highlights of the history of the journey and where we've been.
So Annie actually first got in touch with me back in 2016.
Well, I'd moved abroad because I was trying to get away from the domestic abuse, post-separation abuse, and I wasn't very well at the time. I moved abroad and I was trying to rebuild my life, but I wanted to campaign because it was before the 2021 Act where coercive control was recognised, and I just wanted to tell other people what had gone on, and that this was just a campaign so that other women didn't have to go through it. Came across Mums in Need,
yes.
A little Facebook
group,
page
yeah.
back in the day, and you were the first person that understood the living hell that I was going through, and at that point I said, we had a conversation. It was just before I moved, and then I said, well, can I get involved, because me campaigning by myself is a waste of time. I haven't got the traction. And it went from there, didn't it?
It did. And in that time, in the 10 years, we've achieved so much. And Annie herself has done so many different parts, got involved in so many different parts within the organisation. I think starting from probably volunteer recruitment was the first bit you did, wasn't it?
So I used to, I ran in another job, another life, I was a volunteer coordinator, so I had a team of 350 volunteers and 20 different roles. So coming into Min was still almost a kitchen table, so it was still finding its feet, wasn't it? And so I just brought in just some of the sort of the structure around a volunteer programme, different volunteer roles, and the recruitment process, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah,
it's one of the things. And then
so in 2016 we got our first actual physical office space, which is when the Min tins started, the charity tins that we got dotted around. That was in 2016.
And didn't you have all the storage in there? Because it was like you got the office space for free. It was huge, and cold.
Yes,
I do remember that.
Yeah.
And it was full of charity shop donations. It was like,
so what happened was, because we were a charity, community group, weren't a charity at that point.
That, wasn't it?
And people were like, oh well, we'll just bring you things. So what ended up happening was we had this massive room, and then people just bought bags and bags of stuff. So we ended up setting up a charity shop by default,
in the building. And other times there was another volunteer I remember who was then putting stuff out on, like, was it even eBay or just selling stuff?
Yeah, we had still stuff on Facebook and Vinted and Depop.
Yeah. Might have been before Vinted.
Yeah, maybe even
going back that far. Yeah. And so that was, we were really starting to look for funding, weren't we? I mean, that was a major issue, because you can't run on thin air.
And I was doing everything for
you were doing it for working hours for
and
so I think we came across that, it was Rosa, and they are like a re-granter, they're called, so they had, it was the tampon tax,
that's where their funds come from,
which was to go back, a grant to go back to grassroots organisations. So I led on getting a funding app together, and it was about 25k, something like that. We were successful, which is good considering not funding professional, and that, I believe,
that funded me to essentially go from being founder to a paid CEO of the charity.
Huge.
So that started me on that journey.
And then 2018, was that when we first applied to become a registered charity?
Well, we actually applied in 2017, but the whole process took about 6 months. Because we had to go back and forward, because obviously we'd never done anything like this before. And so we had to, fill out more paperwork, more policies and what have you. So it came back a couple of times. And then we actually got charity status on Valentine's Day 2018.
That's amazing. Oh, what a lovely celebration. So
in that time, we've developed a really strong staff team.
It was just you for a long time, wasn't it? And volunteers, but it's paid, moving into paid staff, wasn't it?
Paid staff. So we've got a strong staff team, board of trustees, and team of volunteers, And we've also got a team of ambassadors as well.
And what do the ambassadors do? What's their role?
So the ambassadors, they will do a mixture of events. So they'll go to an event and represent the charity, help out with stalls, do presentations, like a range of things really.
And that's really helping you with what you do, because you've moved away. These days you do less operational and more PR, because it's that network and it's getting the voice out, isn't it, as to who we are, what we do, and that has really helped, hasn't it?
It's helped massively, because we used to get invited to attend loads of different events and talks, and I couldn't do them all. So now we can do a lot more
further
of
reach,
those, because we've got a team of ambassadors. So,
and then we got the lottery funding, didn't we? What year was that?
That was in 2023.
We've had some lottery funding over the years, haven't we? That's really helped develop our work at Mums in Need.
Yeah, we have. The most significant one was the one in 2021, which was a lived experience led programme. So with that, we created bespoke training using our own voices on post-separation abuse and coercive control.
So by lived experience, what exactly do you mean by that?
So using our own lived experience of being in an abusive relationship and learning through basically the whole of the training is what we wish we'd known back then. What we know now, if we'd have known that back then, it would have made our whole life so much easier.
And therefore using people's experiences to inform, so that other people know. And then on the back of that, they developed this training for other mums in need, wasn't it, so that they can understand what they're going through. And then there was another training which I got involved in, and that was for the professionals, wasn't it?
So off the back of that, we created other training, one which we're in the process of getting accredited, and employers, and the one that you involved in was the one for family law professionals, which you delivered, didn't you?
I did. So I co-facilitated it with someone else, and really what's powerful about that is that one of the big things about post-separation abuse and coercive control is that different services can unwittingly become involved as enablers, and they may be manipulated by the perpetrators, for example, and the victim survivors end up being re-traumatized, or it extends the abuse that they've been through. So what this training does is it really opens that conversation with, for example, it could be a legal professional, family law professional, who's representing someone who's going through the family court, a victim survivor going through the family court, and it means that they have their eyes and ears open to what is happening and how this abuse manifests and is amplified, if you like. And so it's a really powerful tool that we now have, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. Such a great piece of training.
Yeah.
So since being with Mums in Need, Annie, you've done so many things. You've done a lot of developmental work, but in more sort of recent years, what have you been doing?
Well, I think that you and I had a conversation a few years ago as to, okay, so I know the charity really well. I know the history, I've been involved, and I still feel that drive, and I don't have the words for it. It's something so deep inside me and so passionate that hasn't changed. And I'm so much better in myself as well now, and able to function. For years I was really unwell. I couldn't function properly, and I think it felt quite natural. You were looking for trustees, and it felt quite natural that I applied. I was accepted, and I think what I've been able to bring to that is really bring the professional, my background working with charities, etc., but to bring that lived experience aspect to it, which informs everything. So we have that in the strategic, we have that through everything, which is really important. And so if there ever are any opportunities to still really help people to understand what this type of abuse is about, because we at the moment, we're a charity in Sheffield, but we want to grow, and we want to become the leading expert, because we are, we're unique in terms of post-separation abuse. So I saw there was an article in The Guardian, and it was about domestic abuse, and I read it and I just thought, I had a very visceral reaction. I was like, that is post-separation abuse. That's it. It's an example of it. And so
you responded to that, didn't you?
I did, and I never thought, that you can write your comments, your letters. So I just pinged something off to them, thinking nothing else of it, just saying, actually there is such an unmet need of mums who are going through this. We know this from our own work in Sheffield and the services, and also the other people, such we have patrons such as Legally Nick, who has got thousands of followers, many of whom are going through this. And so I wrote an article about Mums in Need, explaining what we do, what the need is, and it got published. So, but again, for me, it's still getting that voice out there. And we've carried on, haven't we?
Which brings us on to this fabulous book called The Right to Be Heard,
which we're very, very proud of at Mums in Need. Do you want to just say a bit about how it happened?
So a lady approached us, a writer, and asked if she could deliver some workshops for us, which she did, a period of workshops, and those women's voices, survivors, wrote down their experiences in a form of poem, a form of word, and off the back of that, this book has been published, which is absolutely amazing.
And I think what's so powerful about it is that, when I was going through my own experience, it was the frustration that I didn't have a voice. I was completely traumatized, but I was going through family court. I wasn't allowed to speak out. And I was so terrified. I was exhausted. I was I was suicidal. I was very unwell. And there was no voice to be able to, because anything you say that's in the public domain is used against you, and you're not safe, and etc. And
you're silenced, aren't you?
You're silenced, which just helps to, it just maintains the, it keeps you in that position, because you don't have a voice. And everything you think is natural of you can protest, you can do this, you can't do anything. And so what's so powerful about this is it's the women, the mums have got their voices heard in a safe, anonymous way. And so it was a real privilege for me and some others to actually be able to read these pieces out, because they're quite hard but necessary.
Absolutely.
And to give them a voice which can help others relate to, and even just people reading it, to really understand what post-separation abuse is about, because that's really important that we get the message out and people start to understand this type of abuse that's just in plain sight, isn't it?
Absolutely. So these are now selling. You can buy them on Amazon, and all of the proceeds from this comes back to the charity.
Yes, every penny, apart from just the cost of producing it, goes directly to helping mums who are going through post-separation abuse and coercive control.